Today's interview is with Katie Brinkley. Katie is a social media strategist. Now, what does that mean? Well, she helps you with your social media, right? Because social media is huge these days, right? It's not the future, it's the now. It's so important that you have a presence on there and that you're reaching the people that you want to be reaching. So we talk about all that, and we have a focus on Instagram today. So if you're really interested in Instagram, growing your account, making a better presence, giving better content out there, today's definitely the interview for you. So stick around for all of that. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we're joined by Katie Brinkley. Hey, Katie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. I really appreciate you making this interview happen. There were some scheduling issues on my fault, my dumb fault. So I appreciate you being flexible, because I think this is going to be an awesome conversation. I can't wait for it. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, can you kind of give us an introduction into yourself?
Yeah, so I am a social media strategist, and a lot of people say, well, what is a social media strategist? And I think of the whole overall strategy behind your social media presence. So what platform should you be on? When should you post? What type of content will your audience resonate with? So I developed the whole strategy behind your social media. I've been doing it for a while. I started back in the days of MySpace. So 17 years ago, I started with bands, helping bands launch their business online and get their music on radio stations. So I've seen a lot of social media platforms come and go, and I've learned all of them. So I'm ready to tackle just about any social media platform that you are ready to have for your business, and find the one that will work for you.
Awesome. What went wrong with MySpace? Because I remember MySpace and I started getting on it, but I was so untechy, I couldn't use it. Well, I did kind of use it, but I was very unsuccessful. What was the failure with MySpace, you think?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I think that everyone was so excited about, so if you remember, Facebook used to be just for college students. And the only reason that I was all in on MySpace was because my college, I went to a Division II school. I played collegiate softball, and for some reason, Facebook didn't consider my school, I guess, good enough to be on Facebook. So I was all in on MySpace. And once Facebook opened up to the masses, I think everyone was like, okay, so what is Facebook now? And from there, then Twitter came, and then, Instagram. And before you knew it, there was all these new social media platforms coming out there. That MySpace was kind of like the Blockbuster Video. It just didn't keep up with the trends, and it didn't evolve fast enough.
Yeah. Well, I was guessing that it must have been that they just didn't develop it as much as the other ones. You said as well, you're starting out, you used to get bands on the radio. Is that correct? Is that what your job? How does that work? What does that entail?
Yeah, so I mean, I that's where I come from. So I did not plan on being a social media strategist. I mean, this wasn't a job when I was in college, and I wanted to be the next Erin Andrews. I wanted to be on radio, doing the sideline reports, doing the in-game interviews. And I was fortunate enough that I got that job right out of college. So I was the radio reporter here in Denver. I did the locker room reports and the post-game interviews for the Rockies, the Broncos, the Avalanche, and it was a dream come true. So while I was in college, I was doing a lot at the college radio station, and I was really into music. And part of my jobs at the radio station was to get bands to send us their music for free. So as a college radio station, you can't pay royalties. So I had to do a lot of networking, and a lot of people were sending emails, were sending snail mail, and I kind of saw how fast connections can happen on MySpace. And so I really went all in on it, and I developed some great relationships with these different bands. And I was like, well, hey, yeah, if you want to, give me free tickets to your show next time you're in Denver, I'll hook you up with some different names at the radio station. So, I mean, I quickly saw like how powerful of a tool it could be. And, it started with bands. And then once Facebook opened up to everybody else, I started helping small businesses get their business on Facebook. And it really just evolved over time with how how powerful of a tool social media can be.
Yeah, out of interest, were there any bands that started out then that were small at the time that you got connected with that's gone huge since then?
Yeah. So one of the bands that, like, the biggest band probably was Yellow Card. I don't know if I was really into punk music,
Okay.
and so Yellow Card, they really kind of hit it big, and they kind of have faded away. So I mean, most of the bands that I helped have kind of faded away. Fall Out Boy was one of them, but Yellow Card was definitely the biggest, and that I played a lot of music for, and I went to a lot of shows. And anytime I wanted to show up, I was able to go backstage. It was a pretty cool experience having that sort of connection. And again, like I said, it was me just trying to kind of grow my network, and I saw that it could be a big tool, a powerful tool. I just didn't know really what it would end up turning into. I mean, here we are 17 years later, and it's my full-time job.
Yeah, that's awesome. Free tickets didn't hurt either, right? It was never a bad thing when you got free tickets to go to some cool shows. But now you're a social media strategist, right? And so people who listen to that, I know what social media is, I know what a strategist is, but put those together, what does that mean? What does what you do entail?
Yeah, so I mean, I try to sit down. So I would really help a lot of people in the real estate industry. So home builders, real estate agents, contractors, and especially realtors. There are a lot of realtors out there. I mean, 6 years ago, it was projected that people knew an average of 4 realtors. Now it's an average of 10. So I mean, just amongst your word of mouth friends, you're one of 10. So on the social media space, I mean, how are you going to stand out from the rest of the competition? And that's what I help my clients figure out is the strategy that they need to implement so that they can stand out from the rest of the competition. So what platforms should you be on? Where should you be putting your money? Like if you're going to do ads, what posts should you be promoting and putting ad money behind? What is your opt-in going to be? How are you going to build your email list through your social media presence? If you're going to be on Instagram, what time of day should you post? Which posts do the best with your audience? So I mean, the whole strategy, not just creating the content, finding the content that is going to work to move the needle for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important these days, right? It's like we're going more and more, evolving more and more into the social media world, right? It's going to be more, not less in the future, right? We're not doing less social media now. It's just, and we carry our phone everywhere we go. It's like, I know I do it. Everything I look at, everything I do revolves around my phone to some extent, right? Where, like, the GPS, right? Where am I going? Like, what am I buying from Amazon, right? What is happening on Facebook? What is happening on Instagram? Emails on the thing. So it's all there. You've got a personal laptop in your hand the whole time, and it's just continuing to go there. So if you want to touch more people and get in front of more people and optimize your business, right? I think it's so important that your social media is on point, because that's where you're going to connect with more people than ever.
Well, and one of the things too is not everybody is like me. Not everybody wants to be on social media all the time. And so that's where I developed the strategy so that you can really devote the time and attention to the other aspects of your business, and still have your social media work for you. Because again, not everybody wants to be on social media all day, every day. And so when you are on, how are you maximizing your presence?
Yeah, and with that, let's take the example. You said you work with a lot of realtors, so let's use that example just so that maybe people get an idea. When you start working with a realtor for the first time, where do you start, and where do you kind of start building that social media presence?
Yes. So, I mean, right now, I think that we look at all of their insights and all of the data that they have. So where is their audience currently? Where are they getting the most engagement? And with the posts that they're putting out, what audience members is it their ideal clients that are commenting and liking on it? So, I mean, if you're putting a bunch of posts out, but then you look and see it's only like your family that's liking it, let's take a look at a different platform and see, okay, well, who's liking it and engaging on it on this platform? So really kind of fine tweaking it. I think that a lot of, especially realtors, well, any small business really thinks that they need to be on every social media platform known to mankind. And I really think that it is riches and the niches. So, I mean, if your audience is only on Instagram, go all in onto Instagram. Don't try and be on every single social media platform out there. Go all in on one platform and really be present, give fantastic content that your audience is going to resonate with on that one platform, because that's where you're really going to grow. And if you have time for more social media platforms from there, then we can add more in. But I really like to honestly scale things back at the beginning, go all in on that one platform, and then once you can start creating that consistent content and building that audience, then if you want to add in some more like Facebook and LinkedIn and TikToks or whatever, you can start adding those in, but start with one, show up consistently, develop that strategy, and then really kind of grow from there.
And I'm sure understanding who your audience is very important as well, right? Because like you said, they're having an audience. You could have 20,000, 100,000 followers, right? But if they're not engaged and interested in what you're doing, what does it matter, right? Do you have any way that you work when you work with your clients and find out where their audience is? Because sometimes without, I guess, you don't want to try LinkedIn and then have to try Instagram and try Facebook and try TikTok just to find it, right? Is there another way that people can find where their audience is without having to go through that process?
Yeah, so I mean, like it is different for everybody. But so one client that I had, we tried for about a month posting similar content on each of the platforms, and then seeing which one does the best. And one of them, it actually really surprised me. It was LinkedIn. She just really took off on LinkedIn. So then she was like, okay, well, that's great. Now I know that LinkedIn people are my people. They really like the content I'm pushing out. So I'm going to focus all in on LinkedIn. Most of the time, especially again, for the people in the real estate industry, because it is such a visual platform, Instagram is a great place to go, because you have an abundance of wonderful photography coming your way. So Instagram typically for realtors is a great, if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to do the whole 30-day trial and error. I'm just going to go all in on one now, and I'm a realtor. I mean, you can't go wrong with LinkedIn, with Instagram.
Yeah. So with that, let's talk about a little bit of Instagram. I'm a fan of Instagram myself. I use it quite a bit. But what are some good practices when using Instagram as a social media tool?
Yeah, so I think that one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is only posting to the feed. And the feed is, when you open up Instagram, you can start, scrolling through the feed. So that is the original, that's the OG of Instagram is posting to the feed. But honestly, there's 5 different ways to post on Instagram now. There's the feed, there's stories, there's IGTV, there's Instagram Live, and now there's Reels, which is like the TikTok knockoff. And you have to think, everybody consumes content differently. So if you're only posting to the feed, you could be missing out on people who only watch stories. There's some people that just open up Instagram and all they do is watch stories, like a TV show. So you have to try and show up different ways for your audience, because that is how your audience is going to want to engage with you. So, I mean, let's say you create a blog post about the top industry trends for 2021. You've worked really hard on that blog post. So then you share a picture that you created or a graphic that you created talking about that blog post in your feed. Great. Now show up in stories talking about that blog post, and then also tell, hey, if you want to read it, go to the link in my bio. Now you've checked 2 boxes. Well, then maybe the next day you can go live on Instagram where you are talking about the 2021 industry trends, which is, you've already created the content for it. Everything that's written in that article. Heck, you can even have that article up to reference it as you're going live. And then you can save that as your IGTV. Again, now you've hit 4 different places of ways people consume the content. Last but not least, you can post it as a reel, do a 15-second video doing the 6 different industry trends for 2021. Click the link in my bio to read the full blog. So, I mean, that's 5 different ways that you've showed up in the feed, 4 different posts that people can consume. They're all different, but they're all still talking about that same one piece of content that you created.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you're just repurposing, right? But like just like you said, you're touching people in wherever they are, right? Don't let people come to you where you are. You've got to meet them where are they. Like you said, if someone likes reels, if someone likes the story, if someone just likes looking at the feed, right? You've got to touch them where they are. And that's, it's, you can use that one content. It doesn't mean 5 or 6 different pieces of content. Use that one content and just repurpose it in different ways.
Well, and I think that too, people think that they need, oh, well, I don't want to bombard my audience with this, but not everybody is going to see that one post or that video or that reel. Not everyone's going to see it. So you do need to consider that. And again, if you're showing up those different ways, it's not going to feel stale or like it's being overused, because you're giving that information to them differently.
Yeah. Just like anything in social media, right? Most of it's run by algorithms, right? Do you have any algorithm hacks or any suggestions for people sort of starting out, how they can, help grow their following? Because obviously the more people you have on there looking at the right people, the better it is for you and your business.
Yes. And the algorithm, that is something that people consistently are like, well, I want to, show up more in the algorithm. And if you want to grow your following, honestly, it is by being social on the platform. So when you create a post, have a call to action in it, ask a question, start the conversation in the caption. And then when people answer you, answer them back, right back to them. Because again, the more people that engage with your post, the more the Instagram's going to push it out into the algorithm. Additionally, if you want to grow your following, again, the best way is to be social on it. I 100% think that if you don't have time to, I only think that you need to post like 3 or 4 times a week. I don't think you need to post every day or even multiple times a day. I think you can be very successful on social media just posting 3 or 4 times a week. And with the rest of your time, go through the feed and comment, not like, comment on other people's posts. Find a hashtag that your ideal client and customer is engaging with. So if you are in Denver and you want to be targeting home buyers or people that are looking for new houses, go into the hashtag Denver real estate, Denver homes, and start commenting on those posts. That is how you are going to engage with the right people, because if you're commenting on their post and you're, oh, I've never seen this person before. Who is this? Then they click on your picture and they're like, oh, well, cool. This is a Denver realtor. Look at all the great pictures and all the value that they give on a consistent basis. I'm going to go ahead and follow them. Or I might just go ahead and like some of their posts and reciprocate because they commented and liked mine. So 100% go into other people's posts and start commenting on them. That is the biggest tip I can give you, is being social on the platform is how you are going to grow your audience.
Yeah, I could be social on social media, right? But I think a lot of people have a misconception, maybe me included, a while back, that it was all about the hashtags. Hashtags is what's going to get you trending. Hashtags is going to, but how important? I'm guessing they are somewhat important, but how important are hashtags?
Well, for Instagram specifically, hashtags are important. You're allowed 30 hashtags. So you should use 30 hashtags. There's no magic number like, oh, 15 is the magic number and that's going to be seen more in the algorithm. No. If Instagram's going to give you 30 hashtags to use to expand your reach, use 30 hashtags. Now, at the time of this recording, hashtags are important. That's how you're going to expand your reach. However, Instagram is going to be switching over to more keywords. So that is why you're seeing a lot more posts on Instagram that are kind of like mini blogs. They're really, really long captions. And it's because the keyword search is starting to show up more in Instagram. So right now, hashtags are the best way to expand your reach, but soon it is going to be all keyword search in the caption.
That's why it's important to keep on top of stuff, right? It's just like everything's with technology and everything like this, it's just constantly evolving, constantly changing. You touched on it a little bit before, right? 3 or 4 posts a week you think is pretty good, but then the engagement and being social is important. What do you suggest to people in terms of time? Because obviously Instagram, it just alone can be a massive time suck, right? You can be on there 3 or 4 hours, no problem, and you're like, well, I haven't been productive. So do you have a suggestion for any clients or anyone that you work with, how much time they should spend on there each day, for example, engaging with people?
Yeah, so I think that you can be successful on social media with as little as an hour a week of setting aside for your posting strategy. So I am all about working smarter, not harder. So utilizing a scheduler. There's one that I use. It's not an affiliate. I'm not affiliated with them. I just use them, and I think that they have one of the best tools out there, and it is called Loomly, Loomly. And you can schedule your posts through that. There's also Planoly. That is a great scheduler as well. So sitting down for about an hour, crafting your social media posts for the week, and then scheduling them for the perfect time for when your audience is online. From there, you can be successful, again, just devoting about 10 to 15 minutes a day being social on the platform. So I'm talking about answering people that have commented on your post, commenting on other people's posts. And you can do this at any time. You can do it at 1:30 in the morning if that's the best time for you. So find a time that you can just sit down. If you're laying in bed watching TV or waiting in the carpool lane for pickup, that's when you can be online, engaging and commenting on other people's posts.
Yeah, that's great. That's because it could take a long time, but like you said, if you use a tool like a scheduling tool, like you mentioned there, and have all your posts scheduled for the week, and you spend that hour and then you spend 10, 15 minutes a day, it's not a lot. I think you've got to be intentional, right? I think that's the important thing to remember, right? If you're scrolling, looking at videos of cats doing funny stuff or whatever else you have an interest in, well, okay, that's not being intentional, that you could be on there for 3 or 4 hours time, and you're not, driving your business forward. If you want to do that, okay, but understand that it's not helping your business, right? You're not helping the algorithm of that. Something that I've heard people say and question is, how much personal, if it's my business, if I'm a realtor, for example, right, or a real estate investor, how much personal stuff should I put out? Should it just all be business? This is the market. This is some home selling tips. This is some home buying tips. This is a video of me doing a walkthrough. This is a video of me helping with an inspection, whatever it may be on the business side. How much personal stuff should you sprinkle in? None? A lot? How do you feel about that?
Oh, so I like to think of social media for businesses as a little mini website. So the second that someone's going to come on your website, if you have a bunch of pictures of your family on there, are they going to know what you do and who you serve and where you're located, especially if you're like a local business, like a realtor. So I think that stories is 100% the best way to showcase a little bit of your personal life and of your family life. Stories are a great way. So I'm just going to give this as an example. So I host a lot of rooms on Clubhouse. And one of the rooms I hosted on a Saturday, right before my daughter and I were going to go skiing. And we closed out the room, and at the end of every room, I always try to go into my stories and kind of give people a brief recap as to what the room was about, yada, yada, yada. So I did that, but what I did is in the background is I had captions over videos of my daughter and I skiing. And I said, hey, just finished out this Clubhouse room. These were some of the topics that we discussed. And again, the video in the background were all images of us skiing and being outside and us together. So, I mean, that way they still saw like, hey, I'm a mom. I enjoy skiing. This is what I'm doing. This is a little bit of my personal life, but I'm still giving people why the reason, the facts and the information as to why they're following me. They're following me because they want, social media tips and Clubhouse tips. And so that's where I was able to kind of combine the two. And I think that's the best way. So if you're a realtor and you have a new listing and it's close to a dog park, why don't you and your dog go for a walk to that dog park? Show the walkability score from the front step to that dog park, and you and your dog can be in the video like, hey, here we are. Here's pictures of my dog running. This is what my dog looks like. Here I am. We have such a good bond. So I mean, like, that's a great way to showcase something from your business, but then still a personal aspect as well. So stories are a great way to do it because they're gone in 24 hours, and you can showcase a little bit of your family life or personal life while still giving people the reason, the facts and the information as to why they are following you in the first place.
Yeah, that's great. I like that because it's like a combination of both, right? It's getting that business side, but getting your personal character over as well, because I think that's important that people see you as a person, right? Because a lot of times it's that emotional connection, it's that liking of someone that makes someone want to work with, as well as knowing that you're good at your business as well. But so some people with something like Instagram, like, you know, these videos are important, that you're posting videos and posting, and there's other stuff you can do. But for people that have challenges in terms of, they're like, oh, I hate the sound of my voice, or I'm not a good talker, or I hate being in front of camera, what do you say to those type of people that, you know, that say that and they don't want to do videos of themselves, perhaps?
Yeah, you know, trust me, I feel your pain. I come from radio. I mean, there's a reason that I was in radio. I didn't want to go into TV or anything or print. I I wanted to be behind the microphone still, but I really didn't want to get in front of video either. So I feel your pain, and it can be overwhelming and intimidating. But you know what? The second that you realize that your business, that you are the brand, that's when you're going to see your business and your social media kind of explode. You're going to find that there's going to be people that, you know, might say negative things or might unfollow you, but you know what? That's not your ideal client or customer. You're going to find people that identify with you and get to know you and like your voice, and they like seeing you show up on camera. And those are your people. Those are the people that you need to just worry about and show up for consistently, because you really are the brand. And again, going back to the realtors, I mean, the second that you realize that someone can buy a home from anyone, but the reason that they're choosing you as their realtor is because they like you, they identify with you. And so if you can show up in that market, you know, in front of people on a regular basis, they're going to feel like they're doing business with a friend.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I like that. They can doing business with a friend, because people feel like they know you, right? It's funny doing this podcast. I've had people reach out to me, like they talk to me the first time, and they're like, and I've done this to other people. It's like, I feel like I know you already, because they hear your voice and you're in their ears, and it's just like you make that connection, you know. And it's ultimately, right, I think what it is, and a lot of us don't like being in front of camera. Me the same, believe it or not. But it's, what are you trying to achieve? What are your goals? Why is that important, right? Is that more important than you worrying about being silly, looking, you know, not speaking right, or whatever it is, right? And you've got to get over that discomfort, right? Because in discomfort is where growth is and where success is a lot of times. And if you can remember that, I think that definitely helps me at times. Out of interest, what does it look like to work with you? What do you provide? What are the services do you provide? Like, how much time should someone expect that they be involved? Like, what does it look like to work with a social media strategist?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one coaching sessions. I also do group coaching sessions twice a year. My last coaching session, actually just a group coaching session, just ended. The next one will start up again in the fall. But the one-on-one coaching session, you can choose to do a month with me or 12 weeks. And the 12 weeks really is like a full deep dive into your whole online digital presence and strategy. And again, I really think that you can be successful with your social media in as little as an hour a week. And so that's what we do, is we have four, it's like for the month session, we have 4 1-hour sessions together and kind of develop a quick strategy from there. The 12, again, 12 1-hour sessions, same time for 12 weeks long. And that way you've gotten into a rhythm of, okay, every Monday at noon, I sit down and devote 1 hour to my social media. And so that's that. Like I said, I really think that you can be successful. It's just in just as little as 1 hour a week. It's just creating that routine. And that's what I like to set my clients up for success with, is after that 1 hour for 12 weeks, they're committed to it and they feel confident.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, because time is valuable, right? And we don't want to be spending too much time, especially if you can do it in that.
Yeah, exactly. And not everyone's, like I said, not everyone's into doing social media all day, every day. So let's devote an hour, and then you have 39 hours for the rest of your week to devote to the other aspects of your business that you're more passionate about.
Yeah, for sure. Right? Absolutely. I think there's a lot of power in using and learning from someone like yourself. No doubt about that. So yeah, really interesting. I love this stuff. It's so interesting. It's such a rabbit hole as well. You can get down there and just go so deep on this stuff, right? You can spend so much time, but like I said earlier, there's no doubt that this can be a huge component to your success, right? It's almost essential at this point, right? It's not an option almost at this point. If you want to be successful, it's very important that you're involved in social media in some aspect, and that you're growing your online platform for sure. But as this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate, I like to incorporate some wrestling-related real estate questions. And the first, and they're going to be more business questions today, actually. But the first question is, what would your wrestling name be?
My wrestling name would probably be the Instigator.
Okay.
So, because my name's Katie, and my nickname is Cater, and it rhymes with a lot of things. Like, so they would say, a lot of my friends say like, Cater, Instigator. So I'd probably be the Instigator.
What do you instigate though? Fights, trouble, mayhem, craziness?
I definitely think is one of those things where if I see something's kind of, I don't know, I kind of just like to poke, I don't have any, so I'm an only child. And I feel like I probably am a little bit more of that like little sister kind of traits where I'm not touching you. Not touching, so.
I've got a song that'll get on your nerves, right? That type of thing. I love that. So every wrestler has a special move. What is your special move, you think?
Oh, man. So I mean, I think that my special move probably for business is probably like the confidence booster. I don't know. I definitely think that I try to boost people's confidence with their online strategy, and just because it's not super easy. A lot of people do struggle with like, well, what do I post? When should I post? It's overwhelming, and I definitely feel like I'm like the confidence booster. So that would probably be my special move is the boost of confidence to your online presence.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that's something we can all do with no doubt about that. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your business then, you think?
Ooh, yeah, you know what? So I think that like I said, I never even thought about having this as a career of being a social media strategist. I came from radio, and then I moved into the marketing side of things. So my previous job, I had a phenomenal boss. I was the marketing manager at the television station for the Rockies. I had fantastic perks. And then my biggest body slam, my company was acquired and my position was eliminated. And I was devastated. And then I found out that I was pregnant. And so I was like, oh my gosh, now what? What next for me? Where do I go from here? And I think that was absolutely my biggest body slam, because I didn't know what was next for me. I was like, well, who's going to want to hire me? When I'm going to thanks for hiring me. Now, by the way, I'm going to go on maternity leave for 6 months. So it really was a huge body slam, a huge kind of like, well, what next moment for me. But it also allowed me the opportunity to start what I have now. And now that I have this, I can't imagine doing anything else, because I absolutely love what I do every day.
That's awesome. Well, yeah. And it's just like anything, right? I feel like so many people that have setbacks, it leads them to an even bigger comeback, right? I know that's someone's phrase. I can't remember who that is, but it's so true. And I had the same thing happen to myself. And there's so many people, successful people, it just happens. It's that setback just pushes you forward in the end. And I'm happy that was the case with you. So was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, I think that it's something that I still do on a daily basis. Like it can be really scary being an entrepreneur, because everything that you have revolves around you. You have to be the one to step up. You have to be the one to do the taxes. You have to be the one to do the marketing. You have to be the one to do the sales. There's so many job responsibilities when you are an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. And sometimes it can seem extremely overwhelming and wanting to throw in the towel and just, why am I even doing this? I'm going to go back to, the corporate world. But I think that that's our moment as entrepreneurs, when we are, as you put it, standing on the ropes, trying to figure out what the next step is. And there's a reason why we all started our own businesses, and it's taking that leap of faith and making the jump, and believing in yourself that you are going to land on your feet.
Yeah, absolutely. And without that jump, right, you can't be a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, right? You've got to take that jump, and it can be scary sometimes, but it's usually worth it, and you usually land pretty good a lot of times as well. It's surprising. Well, Katie, thank you so much for taking the time today. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm really interested in everything social media related because it's the future. It's the now. It's not even the future. It's the now, and it's so important. So thank you for sharing all those tips. But if anyone's interested in working with you, if they want to find out more on what's going on, if they just want to get in touch, how can they do so?
Well, I'm on social media, believe it or not.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah, so I mean, shoot me. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me at Katie Brinkley. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can connect with me over there at I am Katie Brinkley. And I'm very active on Clubhouse, again, at Katie Brinkley. If you want to work with me, head on over to my website, which is nextstepsocialcommunications.com.
Awesome. I'll include all that in the show notes. But Katie, thank you so much and have a fantastic rest of your day out there.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for having me.